what other tools are out there for managing projects? Well, a lot. Seriously, there's so many tools for managing projects. It's just overwhelming, and it's actually exciting. Everything you can find and everything you can do with the different tools that are out there. I'll show you a couple right now. Let's go to, let's say, Asana. Go to Asana here. It's one of the tools that's out there to manage projects. And the guys from Asana, they actually used to work at Facebook before. And you can see here a view of in a tablet or in a laptop and mobile devices of how you can use the product. And if you go here, I'll show you a little bit more about Asana as a product and what it does. And all the features that are part of it, tasks, projects, sections, subtasks, due dates, attachments, hearts, project conversations. So it has a bunch of things. I've used the tool. It's good. I personally don't think it's as good as Trello because I just love the simplicity of Trello. But this is just another one. And yeah, feel free to give it a go. You can get started for free as well. And they have here a little bit more information about their pricing. Another very popular one is called Basecamp. You go here, Basecamp. It's just another tool for managing projects. I've used Basecamp as well, and it's really, really good. There was one company where I worked for where all the projects that we did, everything was in Basecamp. And it was just very interesting. So you can see here, it just has grown exponentially. They started with 45 people, and now they have over 2 million. It just goes to show just how good this product is. It is a really good product. And you can also get started for free. They have a free trial. And just give it a go. And sometimes the best way for you to figure out which are your favorite tools is just by trying them out and testing them and see what you prefer. Another one that is also very famous is called Jira. Jira is from this company that's called Atlassian. It's actually an Australian company. I'm proud to say that. And they've done a really good job with their products. They have many, many different products, and a lot of them you can use them for your projects. They have really good bug tracking and ticketing systems. A lot of them, or a lot of their products, are also used for agile projects, but you can even use them in standard projects. I've also used this tool. It is pretty good. It's robust. It's very flexible. I do feel personally that something is so robust that it's also complex. As a project manager, I'm very minimalistic. I like keeping things simple. So I will always naturally tend to gravitate towards tools that are very basic, very simple, minimum in design, very intuitive, which is why I really love Trello. But this is another example, and it's sense for Jira. Like I said, it's an awesome tool. It is very robust. It is very flexible. And also from my personal perspective, it's a bit complex. It takes a little bit of time for you to learn how to use it because it's so robust. It has so much functionality. But yeah, it's definitely an option that's out there. And a lot of people are using Jira to manage their projects, especially agile teams, but not all the agile teams. You don't need to be an agile team or working on an agile project to actually use Jira. You can even use it without being agile. Same for Basecamp and Asana. You can use them even if you're not on an agile project. These are project management tools, and there's many, many more out there. There's one that's called Adaptive. This one is a little bit more, I guess, corporate style project management tool. But yeah, some people use this. I used it in one of the companies I was working for before. I did find it to be a bit very corporate for my taste. But yeah, it's a tool that's out there and you can certainly use it. Let's go here to Adaptive. It's a little bit slow. All right, finally. I definitely don't like the speed of their website either, but it's a tool that you can use. And in project management, there's many, many tools out there and you can easily find them if you go to Google and just say project management tools. You'll find a lot of articles, and it might take you a bit to find actually the actual tools because there's a lot of, blog articles and stuff like that. But there's a lot of them out there, like the ones that I was mentioning a moment ago. There's another one I can remember that's called Gantic. If you go to Gantic, this is used for resource planning and project portfolio management. So if you go here to Gantic, it's a bit of what it looks like. So it allows you to manage resources. And there's many, many more. So I'm not going to go over all of them. I might add some other tools later down the track. But the other tools that you use all the time when you're managing project are the basic out-of-the-box Microsoft Office tools. You use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook all the time. And of course, you also use Microsoft Project. Now, Microsoft Project is a tool that you can use for planning your project, for developing your schedule, for planning your resources and adding costs. It's very, very robust, and it looks a little bit like Excel. Let me just open Project and show you what it looks like. So this is Microsoft Project, if you've never seen it before. And I'm going to open a blank project just to show you a bit how it looks like. All right. So like I said, if you've never used this tool before, I'm going to provide a link in the course for a course. It's a free course. You don't have to pay anything for it. I'm going to send you a link for a really good course that talks about how you can use this tool to manage your projects. And it will give you really good training if you're keen on learning about this tool. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of Microsoft Project right now because it has a million things. It's a little bit like Excel. There's so much you can do. But if you've used Excel, and I'm pretty sure you've all used Excel, it's a little bit similar to Excel. So I'm going to put here, let's say, discovery. We're going to let's just create our initial phases of the project. Planning, implementation, and closure. And like I said before, there's, depending on which methodology you're using, the phases may vary. You might have 5, you might have 6 phases. Instead of the discovery, it might be called initiation. But in essence, you'll find as a project manager that in essence, project management phases are very similar. And even though they might have different names, the purpose of the phase is very similar. So I'm going to mark them here with, I guess, a little bit of a darker color. Put that in bold, darker color, bold. Same here, right? Okay. And I'm just going to put here in discovery, let's say analyze business requirements. I'm going to put here define project objectives. And I'm going to put here in discovery, create business case. So you put here all the tasks that are part of the project, and they don't need to be, things that you are specifically going to be working on. Let's say this one is a business analyst. This one is a PM. Say this one is a PM, and so forth. You can start adding your resources. You can say, okay, this is going to start on the 24th of April, and it's going to finish on the 27th. And here automatically you can see that Microsoft project is already adding 4 days of duration. And here this is just setting the task to manual, but you can also set this to automatic and it will change to blue. And you can see here that it starts to create a Gantt chart. So if you haven't come across a Gantt chart before, it's good that you get familiarized with the word. It's very commonly used in project management, and it's just kind of a visual diagram of your tasks and how they interact with each other. So if I put this one over here, you're gonna see this a little bit. Over here to the right is what you would usually see as your Gantt chart. And the more tasks you add over there, you'll see everything here as rectangles, long rectangles, and you'll see the interconnection. Let's say, for example, before I define the project objectives, I need to do this task first. So predecessor of this task is number 2, 10. You see how it added this little arrow here? And that's what I meant by the Gantt chart and how the tasks are interrelated. And like I said, there's a lot of things you can add here. In planning, I can say we're going to plan communication plan. Training plan. Change management plan. And so on. And I think you get the picture. This is what the tool allows you to do. There's many, many other things you can add. If you go, for example, to resource and you go to your resource sheet, you can add here what's the rate per hour of this guy. So, for example, let's say she charges $80 an hour. So we're and let's say the PM charges 100. I'm not really sure who this PM is and how much he charges, but let's say, for example, he charges 100 for now. It's just an example. And so if we go back, Gantt chart, showing us this view, and see here, let's say I'm going to add here, you scroll this a little bit here, you can see here you can add a new column, and I'm going to add the column of cost. Somewhere here we can find cost. All right, here it is, cost. All right, and see how it added some cost for your resourcing here? This is one of the cool things about Microsoft Project. It automatically does this, and it just looks at the hourly rate, and then the days that these people are working, and then how many hours per day. And it has somewhere in the options, you can change the hours per day. If you go here, let me see if I recall this where it is correctly. Yep, so if you go here to file, and if you go to options, and then if you go to schedule, here it is, hours per day. So it's calculating based on 8 hours per day, a 40-hour week, which is pretty standard in the US. It's not very standard in Europe or Australia. Here in Australia, we work less hours per day. In a lot of countries in Europe, it's the same. So you can change this if you need to. And you can also change the number of days per month. And so it's pretty much, I guess, in a nutshell, a little bit about Microsoft Project. And like I said before, it's a really good tool for managing projects. I'm not particularly very fond of it, but there's a lot of companies that might ask you to run your projects with Microsoft Project. So if you don't have any experience with it, it's good that you get the experience and learn how to use it. If you go through a training or you start, just giving it a go by yourself, you'll start figuring it out. It's not hard. It's actually quite easy to use. I have experience with it. I've used it many times on many projects, but it's definitely not my favorite tool. I use it really when I have to, or when I'm working on a project and, the business is asking me to use it. But yeah, you can use it for your projects and for your schedules. And, we talked about Excel, yes. And like in many other roles or in many other companies, you're going to be using Excel for a lot of things, reports, tables, pivot tables, just, lists, putting information there, whatever you can think of, you'll use Excel a lot. It's part of being a project, and like in any other role, I think most nowadays you use Excel pretty much in every role. It doesn't matter which role you're involved in. And if you go to Microsoft PowerPoint, you use PowerPoint for status reports, for presentations about your project, talking to people about your project when you're doing training about your project. So you'll end up using PowerPoint a lot. And Microsoft Word, basic tools. You use this a lot in project management. Microsoft Project, Excel, PowerPoint, and even Outlook, just email is something they use a lot in project management. And then we already talked about these other tools: Asana, Basecamp, Jira, Adaptive, Gantic, Trello. And like I said, there's still a lot more. I'm just covering a couple of them, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of the tools you use when you're managing your projects.